put us live.
Oh, there we go.
Hey,
Hello. How are you, Jamil?
Landree, how are you?
I'm great. Once again, I mean, we get to this day of the week, and it feels like, how is
How
it
did,
Thursday already?
how is it Thursday already? I know it's like I feel like I see you. I might actually have seen you more in the last uh 2 weeks than I did Natalie.
Yeah,
So,
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and I just saw you. Yeah.
right. So always a pleasure and excited to do this live today, guys. If you are had not yet seen the topic of our next month of Jamil Goes Off Market with Landry Morby, today we're going to be going over different kinds of liens. Super interesting topic because liens tend to be one of those circumstances or situations where deals can fall apart, right? As you're in the escrow process and these liens start popping up and people don't know how to identify or how to negotiate or deal with these liens. On the other side, what you don't a lot of people don't realize is these liens present incredible opportunities to go out and get a deal because certain kinds of liens are going to signal different kinds of situations, right? Some liens might point to financial distress. Some liens might point to situational distress. Some liens might just not point to anything and are not worth you skip tracing and reaching out to. And so it's really important to know the difference between what types of liens are actually beneficial for us versus what types of liens are just going to be a waste of time and money. And there's nobody that I could even wish to do this with that's more knowledgeable about this than this incredible woman here with me, Landry Morby. Landry, how are you? Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced with liens and how the folks who are really going direct to seller with this approach are succeeding.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me okay? By the way, my husband was like right out here mowing the lawn right as I was
We don't hear him.
on
You got
here.
a good mic there.
Okay, good, good. But yeah, I've been doing good. By the way, side note, did you know I'm coming to Arizona?
When?
Yeah, we were just talking about it. I don't know, maybe we'll have to do the show together if you're around
Let's
as
go
well.
live.
Yeah, we should. I'll be there the 14th for our first meetup. You
Heck
know?
yeah. Heck
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll be
Okay,
that whole week. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, doing
that'll
great.
be so fun. Let's do a live show. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, I feel like with liens, there is so much that doesn't get talked about until you get to the title company. And it's like, it's their job to find anything underlying and make sure that there's nothing that's going to throw a wrench in your deal. And then it does. And
Right.
the owner didn't tell you about it. So I feel like the more and more people I talk to, the more people are talking about looking for those liens beforehand. Not only like you're saying that that's a motivated list, but also you want to know what you're getting yourself into as well. So I feel like there's multiple sides about it. And that's why I wanted you to talk about this, because I think it's so beneficial for people to know what a lien is. Why are there so many? And we'll go into this within batch leads for you guys to be able to see how we're going to get this data, and we'll give some stuff out. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good to see and to have the visibility. I think, sure, you don't want to have everything be all analysis paralysis, but I think with something like that, that's super easy to just look up, why not? You know what I mean? So
100%.
let me pull this up as well.
Guys, if you have ever used or ever leveraged a lien to do a wholesale deal, just let me see in the chat if you've been able to do that before. By just put an L in the chat if you've ever used a lien or had a lien list to help you do a wholesale deal. And I want to see that, guys. Again, please don't just be consumers of this information. We are doing this and dedicating our time. I invest a tremendous amount of money and resources to pay my team to help us do this. And so do us all a favor and go to batchleads.io/off market and do this with us, right? We're giving you guys the keys to the kingdom of direct seller here to really dial in how to go and get some of the most incredible leads for your business. So please, there is a link in the chat. While we wait for you to tell us if any of you have leveraged liens before, go to batchleads.io/off market and get started with Batch. What are y'all waiting for?
I know. And you guys get to try it out if you're like, this is not what I whatever. I mean, we'll give you guys the link to get into the community, but if you're intimidated by a system that you haven't used before, I will teach you guys how to use it. Like I love this stuff. You know how I'm detail oriented and almost like too analytical to a point
I
with
don't think there's
software.
I don't think
So,
there's anything that's too anything of you, Landry. You're absolutely perfect.
definitely not me, but
So, look, I haven't seen
that's my bread and butter.
I haven't seen a lot of people saying that they've been using Lean. So I think this is
Yeah.
probably going to be like really new for people to be able to do this.
Yeah, I'm excited. Once again, nobody's talking about it when I feel like it's a big deal, don't you? Or am I wrong? And you're like, no
100%.
way.
No. I think this because I think the reason why people don't talk about it is they don't know, right?
Yeah.
Fact is, guys, is that if you are leveraging leans, you can get some juicy, really, really juicy leads. And we just saw that Shannon had just pulled a lean list from Batch, and Batch is great. Thank you, Shannon, for support, and thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. You're going to do incredible, Shannon. We're going to talk about the different kinds of leans today so that you can modify your approach. Because, guys, here's the other piece, right? When you're talking to different lean lists or different lean situations, your approach has to be different, right? Your approach is going to be different for somebody who's got an HOA lien versus somebody who's got a Medicare lien versus somebody who's got a utility lien versus somebody who's got a judgment versus somebody who's got child support. I mean, there's so many different types of liens that can be placed against the property, and you want to understand the nuance on each approach so that when you're talking to your prospective client, you're really not, you're not being abrasive, you're being empathetic and compassionate, but getting to the meat and potatoes of the situation so that you can solve a problem and potentially get the deal across the finish line. So the other side of that too is if you don't know, you can negotiate liens. This is something that, man, how many wholesale deals have fallen apart, Landry, right? We talked about this.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, so what happened was Landry and I were talking and she was mentioning how so many people that we've got in the system or in this world, right? So many folks, they get a deal under contract and the deal is now in escrow. And then, these liens pop up and sometimes the liens are more than what the purchase price of the property is. And so title company comes to everybody and says, hey guys, these liens are a little bit high. They're higher than the purchase price. Would the buyer like to come up in price? And no buyer ever says, yeah, I'll come up $50,000. This still makes sense to me buying it for 50 grand more. Nobody does that, right? So what happens? It cancels and everybody scurries off into the forest, right? Yet I have successfully negotiated at least 60 to 70% of the liens that I've seen in our deals. And so you might be able to construct a deal by going and negotiating liens down so that you can help a seller keep more of their money and in return get a way better price on the property. So guys, I need your brains to start thinking in this manner so that you can figure out how to leverage these kinds of liens. Now, in addition to what we're talking about today, guys, Landry is going to put together 3 lien lists in 3 different markets. Okay, so if you're in a specific market right now and you would like us to create this lien list for you, and like, let's just say you're in Dallas or you're in Phoenix or you're in Albuquerque, I don't know where you are from, but in the chat, please tell us what market you would like one of these lien lists to come from, and we will tally up who the majority of the cities or counties are, and then for the next live stream that we do, Landry will be giving out the lien list only to people who are Batch customers. So again, guys, go to batchleads.io/offmarket. Make sure you're a Batch customer, and then you can participate and get these lien lists from us. So guys, in the chat, if you would right now, tell us what city you would like us to have these lien lists from. So we got some from Portland, Oregon. We got people from DFW, Jacksonville, Birmingham, Portland. So keep putting in your cities, guys, and we will absolutely make a choice before the end of the live stream. But next, I want to hear from you, Landry. What are some of the lien lists that Batch provides? Let's start going into the topics here.
Yeah. Here, if you want to show my screen, or let's see where. Okay, perfect. So when you guys get in here, this is what you're signing up for, by the way, for a trial. And you guys, with that link, you're going to be able to pull 1,000 buyer, seller, even agents are in here as well within even your 7-day trial. So try it out. If you don't like it, let me know in the community as well. We'll get you guys the link. But it doesn't hurt to give it a try and see all the power within this tool. Plus, we're sending you guys lists for free. So
yeah, skip traced already, guys. So there's no additional cost. You get their phone numbers and bada bing, bada booms.
Yeah, exactly. So don't miss out on that. Go ahead and sign up for that while we're going through these different types of liens, and put a like on this video too. I love getting to do these with you, Jamil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do we have like 150 people watching this between platforms and only like 30 likes? What's wrong with you? Why are y'all so stingy with some clicks?
I know. Come on. I think we deserve a little bit more.
I mean, come on, man. Like, what? How does that happen? Y'all just sit there and be like, you know, do you get close to hitting like, and then you're like, no, not enough yet. I'm gonna hold it back. I'm gonna hold my like back for just a minute. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Okay, so let's just do it in Phoenix, for example. And once again, keep putting that in the chat, guys. We're going to pick 3 different markets. And then you guys will have to probably send me, I'll put my email in there as well. Send me an email so I know who to send the list to. I'm going to put them together for you guys to community@batchservice. So make sure you guys are reaching out in the email like, hey, I signed up, or hey, I have an account already. And after we pick those 3 markets, that's how you're going to get them, if you were wondering. But anyway.
Yes, Marika, and when we're working in the batch platform, batch is very good for direct to seller. So yes, this is going to be direct to seller list. This is not for agents. So agent outreach is another method that I absolutely teach and I think is incredible. But especially in a market right now where we have lower inventory and things are a little bit tighter, it's important that you have a direct to seller strategy so that you can optimize and maximize your deal count. That's my feelings about it.
Yeah, get out the tools on your tool belt.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, so property search, we're going to just go to a location, go to Phoenix. I just click search. We're just looking at, hey, there's over 446,000 properties here. All you have to do, yeah, there's a liens one down here, but honestly, I don't usually just go and pull this list of 37,000. There's such a better way to focus this list.
100%.
I don't know. I just never do this unless you're like, oh, cool. I'll put this on top of my deeper filters, you know? So I always open up this blue kind of foundational filter at the top. And then it's right down near like the middle-ish lien and bankruptcy. So let's talk about all the different types of liens.
I love it.
We come in here.
So you've got assessment liens. So that will be what? An assessment will be like an HOA assessment, or would that be like a city lien, or what would the assessments constitute?
I'll have to double check on that one for the assessment one. Yeah, I'll pull that up and see. But and you guys can play around with this too, and it will give you the info on the liens, and we'll show you guys that today too to kind of see who's the debtor and all that good info too. So we'll pull that up. We'll investigate that a little bit more. I have to look at a lot more of these different types because wow, so many that we have in here. Okay.
Economic lien. So this is where somebody has a bill, an outstanding bill. It could be Medicaid, it could be Medicare, it could be a hospital. Maybe you've got you owe somebody, like say for instance, you committed to buying something that you ultimately then defaulted on the payment, and now they've liened your property because they have the ability to because of a contract you signed. So these economic liens, these are incredibly powerful lists because you know that there's what? Financial distress, right? If they sold their property and you gave them a good price and they were able to cash out some money, they could take care of the liens, they could take care of whatever situations they may have. And so economic liens are absolutely important for being able to target an opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, these people, their properties are being used as collateral with other things that they're dealing with. So when you start to think about it like that's basically what they have in place and think about the situation that these property owners are in, that's tough. It just doesn't get looked at, you know? So.
Right. Ocean 888 said, wouldn't liens be more of a broker outreach than agent outreach anyhow? Absolutely not, actually, brother. Or sister. I don't know if you're a female or a male Ocean, but what the thing is when you're talking about liens, we're calling the homeowner actually. And we're gonna explain to the homeowner, hey, I was doing some research and I noticed that there's this incredibly large lien on your property right now for Medicaid. And I was A, wondering if you knew that that was there, and B, did you know that they can actually foreclose on your property and take your house away to settle this lien? A lot of folks don't know that that's a process that people can go to liquidate a lien. And so anyhow, I was wondering if you'd like some help where we can help you negotiate this lien to an incredibly lower, to a much lower amount. In return, we would like to purchase the property. So if this is something that you're interested in seeking our assistance on, we would love to be able to be of benefit to you. And that's it. Like, you're now saying, hey, I'm going to go to bat for you. I'm going to take your $100,000 lien and I'm going to negotiate that as low as I can. And you're going to give me a good price on this property in return. And you're going to be able to keep more of your proceeds. I'm going to help you negotiate that down so you're not giving that money away. You're going to be able to get a good price on the property, and I'm going to get the property. So it's win, 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 win. The only thing that loses here is the lien holder, which, I'm sorry, it's not our problem, right? In this instance, I'm on the side of the homeowner. I'm on the side of the wholesaler. I'm not on the side of the lien holder in this circumstance. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I think I know that every business deserves to be paid their money and whatnot, but look, credit card companies, Medicare company, hospitals, these guys, insurance companies, these guys make a ton of dough, and we're the little guy, right? And so I believe that this is our job to negotiate. Our job is to be able to get lower prices, lower amounts for people. So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see here. So HOA lien. So that would be, on the property with HOA. I mean, with what's going on with, maybe, I guess a lien could get put on a property with kind of what we were talking about, driving for dollars. Would you say a lien could be put on there if your house is full of trash in the front yard, right?
Even smaller. So check this out, Landree. I had this one building that I owned multiple units in Phoenix, Arizona. It was called Papago Springs. And I bought these units for like $25,000, $30,000 a suite when the market had crashed. Well, they had some really, really crazy rules in their CC&Rs, which are the condominium bylaws.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
one of the rules was that you were not allowed to have a barbecue outside of your unit, which, when you are living in an apartment building, is pretty normal for people to have a barbecue outside of their unit. And so we own multiple units in there. And what they would do is the building manager would walk around and then he would assess a fine. And they were not even sending us the fines. They were sending the fines to the tenant that was living in the unit. And the tenant's like, whatever, ripping them up and throwing them away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then guess what happened?
Because of a barbecue?
There were because of a barbecue. And we had thousands of dollars in assessments, thousands of dollars in fines levied against us by the HOA that were just accruing interest. And it wasn't until they actually initiated a foreclosure that we realized what the HOA had done. And then we paid off all the fines, we paid off all the liens, and then we sold those units because we wanted nothing to do with that HOA. But this is what happens, guys,
Holy crap.
Had I not been Jamil and had I not had access to resources, maybe I would have owned these properties and been like, I'm done. I'm just done with this. Now, I'll tell you this. I was able to negotiate those HOA liens to a substantially lower amount than what they had anyway. So again, guys, this is a great opportunity for you to negotiate, to create value, and to be able to help people.
Well, and imagine because I didn't know. And I think a lot of people probably wouldn't even try to ask, because you see an amount and you're like, okay, I got to pay it. There's no negotiating coming to mind, I think, for most people, unless or at least if you give it a try. But imagine getting those fines and having, foreclosure coming upon you and you don't have the funds. Like, I'm sure there's so many people out there that didn't realize that they had all of this just being levied against them.
Right.
Gosh, for that small of a thing, I can't even believe that.
I know.
That's nuts.
We were like, my sister and I would look at each other and say, is this real life? Like, is this legal? But it was legal. It was real life. And if we weren't in the economic situation we were in, it would have been a complete loss. So George Kleist has a great question here. He's asking if Batch has a filter to give us UCC liens. do you know what a UCC lien?
I'm not familiar. Here, let me look that up to see if there's like a similar, because we don't have it in the filter like right off the bat like that, but maybe there is something else it's called. So let's check it out. I don't think so.
Let us know what that is. And maybe just spell out what the UCC stands for, and we can be a little bit more succinct here.
Yeah, it just says, I mean, from what I'm looking up, and I'm not super familiar, but just some sort of lien that's being held against somebody. So I think you would maybe even just leave it open unless you need something like crazy specific. We can kind of play around with that. But yeah, for UCC specifically, we don't have.
And guys, just to let you all know that we will be calling next week on some liens. We may even be able to negotiate some liens, but there's something that you guys are going to need in order to negotiate a lien on behalf of a seller, and it's a specific document. And we're not going to give you that document this week. We're going to give you that document next week, okay, on our next show, but only to the people who took action and have batch leads. So you got to go to batchleads.io/off-market. Make sure you've got the platform, and on our next live stream, we're going to be actually making these calls, and we're going to show you how you get a seller to give you permission to negotiate a lien on their behalf, which is phenomenal. Once you get that document signed, you can now go and negotiate all the liens, and then you can bring those negotiations back to your seller and say, look, I just saved you $90,000. How about you give me an even better price on this house?
Wow. I know. I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be good. I hope that you guys are here for that. Plus, that's when I'm going to be in Arizona, so that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So then HOA, mechanics lien. This is a really good one to watch out for, especially if somebody's looking to provide services, because, you know, it's not just people wholesaling using batch. They might be reaching out to somebody that might need to get their roof repaired or, you know, kind of deal. So you might want to avoid people with certain types of liens too. What else would you say about mechanics liens?
So mechanics liens, they tend to happen when people are doing renovations, or they've had some kind of work done, roofing, electrical, and then they fail to pay their contractor, right?
Yeah.
And so what tends to happen is, if you don't, and this can also be disputes, like let's just say, for instance, you hired a company to come in and lay laminate flooring in your house, and the flooring is all uneven, and you say, I'm not going to pay this. Well, they might put a mechanics lien against the property that needs to be disputed. Your brother actually had probably recorded dozens of mechanics liens, just because sometimes, especially in the investor world, people are shady and they don't pay their bill.
Yeah.
And so, you've got to, as a contractor, a mechanics lien is a way to protect your interest against the property. And so if you've gone and done work on a property, electric, roof, some kind of mechanical work, you can secure an unpaid invoice against the property through a mechanics lien. So oftentimes what the mechanics lien will do, will show you or introduce you to somebody that may have some financial distress. So typically, I think mechanics lien, you didn't pay your bill. Maybe you're frustrated with the property because somebody did poor work. Maybe there's so many different circumstances or situations that could have gone wrong that would lead to a mechanics lien being filed. So the circumstance could be bad work, could be frustration, could be I don't have the money to pay, could be maybe the contractor changed the scope of work, or the person's changed the scope of work, and then they just couldn't afford the bill at the end of it. So there's definitely either situational or economic situations or circumstances that are leading to the mechanics lien being filed.
Yeah. And you know what? Just something simple, and something I say a ton with this, especially for any of you guys that either have batch leads right now, or you've thought about it, but then you look at this and you're like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of filters. Think about what Jamil is just talking about. It's all about painting a picture. So we could check off a box, and that's telling us a potential story. So I know that seems like, I think that when you start to pull these lists, kind of just side note in terms of getting this data and getting a different type of lead list and people that you're trying to target and reach out to, before you pull the list, think about what type of person that could be and what type of things they've gone through. I think when you really think about that, you start pulling less and less list that everybody else is pulling,
Correct.
It just gives you those better lists that people are going to be more likely to maybe want to have a conversation with you. So let's see. State tax lien, support lien. I don't know about that one either. And then
Support lien is child support, right? So
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Typically what happens is, if you're, not paying child support and you own a property, then, typically the other party, the other parent would file a lien against your property to secure unpaid child support. And so personally, I have a child from a relationship that I'm no longer in, and I've never had my the mother of my child ever have to chase me around for child support. She's never even had to. I've always just willingly increased the amount as I've made more money. And I just want to say to you dads out there, if you guys are not paying your child support, shame on you. Go pay that money. You made that baby. Go pay that money. Don't be that guy. But yes, so these situations happen, right? And you might be able to be helpful to them, right? Maybe you can say,
Yeah.
hey, look, I noticed that, because child support liens they can also be pretty draconian in that they'll take your driver's license away. You can get arrested and thrown in prison if you get pulled over. Like, don't mess around with the babies. Don't mess around with those baby mamas either. Like, pay them child support. And so you can find out all of the different repercussions that somebody could go through for a child support lien, and then call this, deadbeat and say, listen, dude, you owe some, or dudette, you owe some child support. Now, they can arrest you. They can pull you over and throw you in prison. They can take your driver's license away. They can take away your ability to earn, right? And I'm sure that you want to be a good dad, or, to your child. So why don't we help you? Maybe I can help. Maybe I can help you. I don't even believe in negotiating the child support liens down. I think if you owe child support, pay it. Okay. But maybe I can just help you get this figured out. Maybe I can help you take off the fines and the extras that you're having to
kind of on top of that.
Maybe I can help you take that away so that you can be okay,
Yeah. Gosh, that's so nuts to think about all the different types. And that's why I really wanted to focus on liens, because it's like this big section that everybody's like, we'll just skip over that. It's like, I don't know about liens, so we're just not going to talk about it. So I'm excited for this. I think that we should pull up kind of just to show you guys as you get in here. And we're going to send you 3 different lists. So if you guys haven't voted yet on which market you want us to be sending you an already skip trace list of 100 properties of liens in your market, then do that in the chat. If you guys have a Batch Leads account, either start it today with that link, or if you already have one, then send an email to community@batchservice. But we'll show you guys where you can actually see this info too. And we can start applying some of these other things. Usually, what would you say kind of coming into lien amounts, Jamil? Is there a certain type that's too small, that's not worth reaching out about, or too big that's just like, forget it? What would you say with that? If if you could, first thing that comes to mind with that.
Well, for me, it's the way that I would ideally want to have the lien. I'd want the liens to be a little bit larger so that I had an opportunity to really add value to the situation. Now, people are going to have different approaches here. And so, you may say, hey, the small liens are easier because they can be paid off so easily from the sale of a house. But really, if you really want to get a good deal, and if you want to create an incredible opportunity, go after the big lien. So is there a way for us to filter, like, the lien being 20% of the property value?
No, that's a good one though. I'm going to put that down for a recommendation. We can do an amount. So we could do like
I'd say let's start at like 25,000.
Okay. I'm going to put that down though, because I think that's a good idea of property value.
Anthony asked, how do you go about negotiating a lien? Great question, Anthony. So what happens is you find out who the lien holder is, right? It'll say it right on the recording, or right against on the deed of trust. It'll tell you what the who the lien holder is. And then and often you'll also get the lien holder's contact information, might be recorded there, or you have to look it up. And so you look it up, and then you contact them. But remember, you're going to need to have a specific form signed by the homeowner or the petitioner that is going to let you negotiate on their behalf. Because I can't call Medicaid and say, hey, I'm calling you for Gertrude. She owes you guys $80,000, and she fell and broke her hip, and she's not going to be able to pay that. And so I'm trying to help her, figure out her home, but your lien is incredibly oppressive right now. And if you guys want anything, we can absolutely help you recover some money, but you're going to need to meet us somewhere and getting this amount significantly reduced. And that's the steps, right? And then they'll go and talk. And it's not going to happen in one phone call. It's not going to happen in 2 phone calls. Typically, these become negotiations in their own right. And they have to go to superiors within the organization. And then they got to get approvals, and they got to get a write-offs. And all these different parties have to agree that the lien amount needs to be reduced or can be reduced. And so it can take some time. Look at this. Fred said hello, said, I negotiated a second mortgage lien of $60,000 down to $6K. Incredible. Fred said hello. What a cool story. I mean, you got it down to 10%. See, guys, like, can you imagine how awesome that would be for your seller to have you just saved them $54,000?
Crazy.
Like, bro, that's so good.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's say, did you say minimum of 25,000?
Let's look at 25,000.
By the way, while we're here, just to give you guys an idea of other things, I kind of like to keep it broad when I'm pulling the list, because then you can I hate to make it too narrow in the beginning, because then, I don't know. I just think it's better. So we might just start with this, but you also have, this is kind of the bankruptcy area. And a lot of the time, at least with people I've pulled up, a lot of the time they've also filed bankruptcy if they have a lien, if it gets up to be too much, of course. But if you were looking for people that have filed bankruptcy specifically, you have a filter for that too. What else was right here? Tax delinquent year, involuntary lien balance of all the properties that they own.
I'd want, like, if I'm doing tax delinquency, I'd want it not to be just this year. I'd want it to be this and last year if possible, right? Because if somebody has missed 2 years of tax payment, something's happening, right? Either they don't even know where to send the payment, or they got economic problems going on, right? So I'd like to have at least 2 years of tax.
Oh, it's 2 years. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
2021. Let's just click apply. See what we get. So that narrowed it down quite a bit. So we could always do, I think we'll get a little bit more as well. Let's see what we get with just the amount real quick.
Facebook user, I don't know who that is, but Facebook user said, would the liens need to be paid prior to closing? No, actually, you negotiate the amount down, and then that negotiation or that document or that reduction would get sent to title. Title would then request a payoff from the lien holder. And then when the property closed, that would be paid, and the situation would be resolved. So no, it doesn't need to be paid outside of escrow. It doesn't need to be paid prior to closing. This is all something that can happen when the property closes. So great question, though.
Yeah, that is a really good question. By the way, what was I going to say with this? I'll probably have you take this off in a second, or I'll take it myself off just so that we don't show anything sensitive. What was I going to say? Oh, I was also going to say, do you care with this? Because we're looking at, I just took that year off of here as well, just to kind of show people like what you can get with just at least the amount, and then you can always play around with it to your guys' liking.
Yeah,
but
so what does it look like at 25? How many? Let's not go into personal information, but how many records were we able to pull with 25,000 as the minimum amount?
That was 660 in Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much does 660 skip trace records cost?
Depends on the plan, of course, within mine. I don't know if we're going to do those big of lists. I think we'll kind of stick to like 100, per.
Yep. But the reason I'm asking is I want somebody to understand like the investment, right? It's not a ton of money, guys, but this list is now really, really concentrated, right? Yeah. And that's where for me, where I believe in spending money is when I can have a greater than like average success rate, right? So like when you're looking at a direct to seller list, like high equity, for instance, right? It's such a broad thing, and you could spend so much money skip tracing that high equity list. It costs you thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars, and your success rate it will definitely be there, but you're going to have a lower success rate because your list isn't concentrated.
Yes.
When we concentrate the list like we're doing here, and we add all these filters, well, what happens is the list gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. The number of records that you're required to then skip trace becomes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So then your costs significantly decrease, but the powerfulness of that list dramatically increases, right? How many connections, how many people are actually going to be interested? There's a way greater likelihood that there's going to be a sale event. So these lists are way more predictive of an opportunity than just going broad, like high equity.
I know, because I think that that's the big thing when people are getting started with this, which, you know, nothing wrong with it. You hear somebody say, pull the tired landlords list. You hear nothing else. You pull the tired landlords list of 100,000 properties, and you just start going through them, and you're like, why is nobody tired? You know, kind of thing. But it's like all these other things that you start putting onto pulling those lists type deal. So this would be depending on the plan, of course. Like within my account, I could get this skip trace for like $60, and another plan
Right?
might be like $90.
Think
So,
about that, like $60. Okay, so
oh, Fred
and
said
it's
that. Perfect.
600 opportunities for you to go and get it. Like again, guys, look, this isn't 6,000, it's not 600, it's $60, right? But you could really grind that list out, and that you could probably run that list for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
You could probably run that list for 2 weeks, continuously trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and you would get something out of that. Some incredible leads, follow-ups, and possibly a couple of contracts. So again, this is, you know, in my opinion, one of the most incredible lead sources is finding these situational or these economic distress.
Yeah. And then if you did want to put all those other things on, oh, that's what I was going to ask you. It just came back to mind is, do you care about with something like this? Would you make sure that like the ownership link, like let's say, would you make sure that they've owned them for a certain period of time, at least like 7-10 years or something like that, or just focus on the leads?
Yeah. So how much more concentrated does a list get
Yeah,
if we
there you go.
on it? Let's pull that
Let's
up.
see.
Do you mind? Let's see.
Now let's do here, and I'm going to put it back up on here so you guys can see. Once again, I know I'm repetitive, but I do it on purpose. As you know, within here is paint the picture. If you're like, well, what if they've owned it for a long time? What if I did that? And then you just add the filter. I don't know. But it takes practice, of course, but just in general about don't overthink it and be patient with yourself with this stuff, because nobody not even myself, when I first started going into the system, this wasn't second nature. So it just takes practice and giving yourself a little bit of a break. So let's do, they've owned them for like 7 years minimum and see. Okay. So there we go. That cut out 400 of those. So if we wanted to narrow that down to 247.
Goodness. So why is it important for, you know, length of period, right? So for instance, Landree just said they have to own the property for at least 7 years. Can anybody in the chat tell me why we would want somebody to own a property for longer rather than them having just purchased it, say, in the last couple of years? In the chat, tell me why it would be more advantageous to us for them to have owned the property for some time. What are your guys' guesses? I want to hear it.
Why do we care about ownership length?
Okay. Looks like we have some pretty intelligent people in the chat. Oh my God. Look at this. Let's see. Facebook user says more equity. Liz says equity. Fred said more equity, perhaps. Tired landlord. Yes, possible. Equity. More equity? Yes, guys, you are absolutely correct. They would have more equity, and there would be a greater opportunity for you to be able to negotiate an incredible discount on that. And loan pay down, yeah, which also means what?
Oh, there you go.
Equity. Yes, loan pay down means equity.
Exactly. So then, yeah, and the same idea. If you're like, wow, I'm getting a lot of multifamily and I'm not breaking into multifamily yet, whatever, go into characteristics and kind of just tell the system, hey, I'm looking for this type of person that has this type of house and things like that. And you can really, if you still aren't getting the type of list that you want, then just put something on it, you know, if that'll allow it, and not get rid of your list completely, but making it as narrow as possible to get that really concentrated list.
Let's go to 10 years ownership, because I think the 3 lists that we give away should be like just banging, you know, like it's like there is going to be somebody on that list of 100 people that's going to sell their house, and it's your job to get it. So like 200, that pulled up 200. I think that is one heck of a list.
Yeah.
Now, can we try to add more liens on top? Can we stack?
We could do it. Well, what I have it on right now is just all the liens. So this is kind of just like every kind of lien you could be thinking about. If we wanted to do something specific. So right now it is kind of stacked. Like this is just the mix of all the different types of liens.
Okay.
But where is it? But if you were like, you know what, I really do want to just focus on those HOA liens and people might not know are just piling up, or maybe their property is just has a ton of deferred maintenance and they can't get it to get cleaned up or whatever. If you're trying to focus on somebody specific, you could try that too. But if you guys want kind of more of that broad list, what we have here, then don't put a lien type.
And I 100% agree with Ocean 888 saying people typically on average move every 7 years.
Oh,
That is an absolute
there you go.
fact. That's the reason why most mortgage companies have their amortization tables set up the way they do, because you're just paying interest off in the beginning part of your loan, and so that is absolutely true. Ocean 888, for the most part, that's everybody is moving every 7 years. What's the longest you've stayed at a house, Landry?
Oh my gosh. Do you know how much my family's moved so many times over the years? I can't even. I think the house that my parents are in right now, and I wasn't there for a crazy amount of time. I think probably 5 or 6 years, but usually we were moving like every 2 years is the reality. Sometimes a year and a half or something. So I was really used to being like, oh, let's go and look at another house. That was a lot of my childhood. I love to look at houses, but we weren't in the same spot for very long. What about you?
So I lived in the same home growing up. We moved from Los Angeles to Canada when I was 5, and then I lived in that house from 5 in Calgary, Alberta. I lived there from 5 to 29. I
Oh my gosh.
celebrated my 30th birthday when I moved to Los Angeles, and so I lived in the same home for, gosh, all those years. It was quite a while, quite a
Gosh,
while. So
that's amazing though.
I was not a mover. I'm very, very, very much like stuck in one place. And then once I got married, Natalie and I have moved a little bit. We probably moved every 3 years since being
Yeah.
married. So that was pretty standard. We every 3 years would kind of get tired of where we were living, and we'd switch it up.
Yeah, you're like, might as well. Well, when me and Trevor first got married, I moved 3 times in 1 year, which was fun and not. Yeah. It was really hard, but now we're going to be here in Tennessee for a long time, so it'll be good. But yeah, gosh, so that's good. That's a crazy stat to know, though. I didn't even realize. I think I picked that up from you and Brent and Pace, of course, of just like the minimum of 7 years. That always pulls up a really great list, but you're not cutting out where it's just that 10, 10 and up. You still have 7, 8, 9 years of people that kind of fall into that mix. So you're not limiting yourself too much.
Now, what I think we should do is I want to give you guys some ideas on some opening lines on how you would position yourself on a specific type of lien. So if you have the ability to, again, Landry, let's pull up the different kinds of liens that Batch provides, and we're just going to go lien type by lien type, and I'm going to give you guys an opening statement, a way that you could approach the situation in a way that, and I'm going to walk through and I'm going to say, this is the mentality of the person that you're talking to. This is some of the pain points, and this is what I'm going to try to speak to in my opener. I'm going to give you an example of one, and then you guys can hear it. Now, again, don't take everything I'm saying as gospel. It's just my style, right? My style and your style could be completely different. And so please, if you have a better way of doing it, do it. If you think that I sound corny, then don't do what I'm doing. But at least this gives you the mentality of the person that you're talking to, right? So let's talk about assessment liens. Okay, so assessment liens, this is when like a condominium or an HOA does an assessment on a property, and they say, hey, we're going to fix the roof on this apartment building or condominium, and every owner has to contribute $7,000 to the new roof.
Oh, right? Wow. Yeah.
And let's just say you don't have the money to pay that, because you have the money to make your mortgage payment, you have the money to make your HOA monthly payment, but all of a sudden they're asking for $7,000. Like, where are you going to come up with that? So first, the way that I would approach that is, let's just say it's you, Landry. I'd say, hey, Landry, my name is Jamil. The reason I'm calling is I don't know if you're aware of this, but your HOA has placed a really big lien on your property of like $7,000 to $8,000 here, and you're just accruing fines, penalties, and interest. I've seen these things go really bad, Miss Morby, and I'm wondering, A, first, did you know that this lien was there? And B, do you have any plans on dealing with it? If you don't, I absolutely could help you out with it. And so those were just my initial thoughts. Do you know about it, Landree?
No, I didn't even know. Like, I'm sure you'd run into a ton of people that probably didn't even know. So
Yeah. So
I
okay,
like
great.
that method.
You don't know that the lien is here. Well, let me introduce to you what my purpose is, right? So I'm an investor. I buy property, I fix them up, and I resell them once I've spent a lot of money fixing up houses. I'm just one of these guys that loves pretty homes. And your property is in a great area, but of course, it's got this big lien on it, and right now it's sitting at $8,000. Miss Morby, if I was able to negotiate that lien to say $1,000, would it be enticing to you for me to A, do that? Would you like me to negotiate for you? And B, would you be open to selling me your property if I'm able to get that reduction for you? Because now you're going to have so much more equity in your house because I've gotten your lien reduced. And it might just be the best way for you to move on and leave this building behind. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I definitely want to learn more about the solutions.
Okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to email you a document that you'll need to sign. It's not a purchase contract. I'm not trying to, buy the house from you at this point, but this document allows me to negotiate on your behalf to the lien holder. So you can read the document. It's all it does is give me the right to negotiate on your behalf with this specific lien holder. I put the lien holder's name in the document. If you could, I sent it to you via e-sign. If you could just sign that for me and send it back, I'll be able to get a hold of this company and I'll start negotiating on your behalf. Now, the beautiful thing here, Miss Morby, is I'll keep you in the loop the entire time. So you'll be hearing from me multiple times, probably throughout the week, as I talk to the higher ups there and I continue negotiating. At some point, we're going to come to a settlement, and I'm going to ask if you're going to be okay with that settlement. Then I'm going to need your signature again. That's going to be the point in which I'm going to ask for the sale of your house, so that you understand the process here. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf. I'm going to try to get this lien amount just significantly reduced. I've been really successful sometimes in getting people's amounts reduced to like 10% of what they are. I mean, I can't promise you that I can do that, but even if I was able to get half off, it'd be a great day at the track for you. So check your email again. Do you mind giving me your email? I have an email address here, but I'm not sure if it's yours. What is it?
Landree@batch.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Landree. That's the email that I have. I'm going to send that to you right now. And I'll be in touch with you within a couple of days once I've had an opportunity to negotiate this lien on your behalf. That's it.
Question for you then. So I'm sure, of course, with the different personalities and people, probably that being the first call they've ever got about it in certain cases, do people say, whoa, like what kind of, I guess, pushback might you get? And is that document long, which you guys are going to get that next time on the show.
Is not long at all. The document is very short. It's actually a third-party authorization form. Fred said hello, just said that. Yes, it's a third-party authorization form. And so, and what that means is, as a third party, I'm a third party in this, and you're just authorizing me to make the call on your behalf. It's a very small document, super easy to read, super easy to understand. It's not like scary for the other person to get.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't feel like, oh my God, I'm signing over my life or my firstborn to you, Rumpelstiltskin. Nothing like that. It's just, super, super easy to the point.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Well, do you, in those cases, ever get pushback? And what does that usually sound like?
You can. I mean, you can get some people who are like, nah, I'm okay. But then, at that time, I'll just say, I'm sorry, you're okay with the lien, or you just aren't interested in my help. And if they say, no, I'm just not interested in your help. Okay, I said, that's fine. I think I might have sold myself short on how good I am at this. And so, again, if you ever decide that you want to sell your house, or if you want some help with this, this is my phone number. And if you're okay with it, I'd love to just try you again in a month to see if things have changed. The other thing that I'll say is, hey, look, I totally understand. You don't know me. I just called you out of the blue. Here's what's going to happen, though. At some point, you're going to be contacted by somebody who's going to let you know that this lien holder is enforcing this lien. They're coming after you. They're going to foreclose. And I would hate for you then to want to talk to me and I'd be busy, or I may not be in town, or maybe I've overcommitted myself to other projects and I'm now I can't buy your house because I bought some other properties. And so I'm really just trying to get in front of the 8 ball here so that we don't have this situation where you're now under the gun because they've initiated a foreclosure against you and you're like, I got to move in a week because of this lien. No, and that can happen, right? That could happen to you. So I think when you are in these situations, the best course of action is to be proactive. And my ask of you is to allow me to help you be proactive.
Love it. I feel like this has been such valuable information that I'm wanting people to really, try this out. If they aren't like Fred that has experience with negotiating 60,000 down to $6,000, like so awesome. So I'm wanting to know with you guys in the chat, if you could put a 1 in the chat if you have never dealt with liens, or a 2 if, maybe this is something that you'd be giving a try if we sent you guys the list.
Yeah.
Which we'll have to pick those markets soon too.
So 1, you've never worked with a lien. 2, you want to work with liens using our list. So yes. 1 or 2. Let us know, and we will absolutely. This gives us an idea of where you guys are at. So yeah, very few people here have ever worked with liens. We've got a few folks who have, and really want to be able to start adding this to their repertoire of lead generation. So this is phenomenal.
Awesome. Let's see what let's kind of see who we got.
Any other fun ones that we can help these viewers with as an opening statement.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Here, let me pull this back up. See if Natasha might see it on the back end to put the screen back up. Maybe you have it. There we go. Oh, almost. There we go. Okay. Okay, so like maybe what about like a mechanics lien?
So mechanics lien is good. We can talk about that because we can just get into the drama. So let's try that. I want to just speak to federal tax liens right now because I have had less success negotiating with the IRS than I have negotiating with my wife.
Yeah.
Just saying. The IRS is that's typically a list that like I find might be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Unless you have an accounting background, or you understand ways that you could renegotiate or maybe work with the IRS. Because I would normally say that those companies that do professional tax negotiations might be better than going at it on your own. But
right.
Anyhow, yeah, federal tax liens are a little bit more difficult. But let's try this mechanics lien.
Okay. So what would your opener be for this one?
So I would call you. Hi, Miss Morby. My name is Jamil, and the reason I'm calling is I've been doing some research on properties in your area, and I noticed that this house that you have on Banana Street has a huge mechanics lien on it. I don't know if you recently did some renovations or if you've hired a contractor to come and give you, do some work for you, but they've placed a really large lien against the property, and that can create a lot of problems for you. First and foremost, you're accruing a lot of fines and interest right now with this lien being placed there. Second, they can initiate a foreclosure, and if you're not even aware that they've placed this lien on your property, you might even get foreclosed on without you even knowing it. And so I wanted to alert you to this situation first and foremost, and ask, Ms. Morby, do you know that this lien is on the property right now?
I don't know what to extent. So I know that I didn't like the work that they did. So I know that they've been trying to get something, but I haven't looked at it and I haven't been paying attention.
Okay. Well, listen, life happens and I get it, right? I think these kinds of situations can pop up on everybody's life. So essentially what took place is you hired a contractor to come in and do some work for you, and you didn't like the work. Is that the case?
Yeah. They didn't do a very good job.
Look, I'm the first guy to send back a cold meal at a restaurant. So I'm I'm on your side, Miss Morby. I think that if you pay somebody good money, or if you've hired somebody to come and do a job for you and they've done a substandard job, that there's got to be some give and take. Listen, I have a really good track record with negotiating these kinds of situations. And if you'd like, I would be happy to negotiate this mechanics lien on your behalf. And what I would be doing then is I'd be contacting this lien holder. I'd be letting them know that I'm going to initiate a motion to discharge this lien entirely. And that I probably have a good reason and good facts, just based off of the conversations that I've been having with you, that I could probably get this discharged. Now, I also believe in fairness, and I'm sure that you've got some, Mr. Contractor or Miss Contractor, you've got some skin in the game here, either with labor that you had to pay or potential material that you were on the hook for buying. And so my goal here is to get you paid something. So if you'd like, maybe I could negotiate here so that I can help you get the most that Miss Morby can give you, but also make sure that I can get Miss Morby to agree so that we can come to a resolution here and everybody can be okay. So if that's okay with you, if you'd like me to do that on your behalf, I'll send you a form that you're going to need to sign. All it is a third-party authorization form. If you sign that, I can start negotiating on your behalf. But I want to say one thing, okay? If I am successful, the reason I'm doing this, so you might be wondering, like, why is this guy helping me? A, I'm helping you because I'm good at this, but B, I really want to buy the property. So, if I'm successful in negotiating this lien down to a acceptable amount for you, would you then be okay to selling me this house at a good price?
I'd have to think about it. You'd have to give me a good price.
Okay, well, but okay, listen. Why don't I do this? Why don't I look at the property? I see what I might be able to potentially fix the property up for and sell it at, and that would tell me what the economics will be for me. And then I'll tell you what my offer number will be. And that offer number will be inclusive of me negotiating this lien down to, let's just say, half of what it is right now. If I can do these things, would you have somewhere to go? Are you currently living in this property, or is this something that you own as a rental?
You know what? Maybe I would be open to that, because it's kind of, no, I'm not living in it, and I just needed some work done, and that's probably why I've forgotten about it. So I don't see why not.
Got it. Miss Morby, what's your email address? I'm going to send this document to you right now. I'm going to get on the phone and get to work for you, and let's see if we can make something happen.
Landree.com.
Amazing. Thank you. And that's it, guys. Like,
there you go.
Really simple, right? I'm offering value. I'm coming to do work first. I'm going to get on your behalf. I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to start negotiating for you. I'm going to start doing work for you. And you know what? Oftentimes, people, for instance, almost 200 of you right now are watching this live stream where we've given you value, right? And some of you have felt compelled to hit the like button because you're like, I've got to do something in exchange for this value, because that's the kind of person you are. Well, this whole world is filled with people like that, right? So when you give people value, when you do something for somebody, then they feel compelled to help you, right? And so that's a piece of this. Now, Landree, before we go, because we're almost at time, I think we should pick 3 markets.
I think so too. Yeah, I'll only for people that either sign up today. It's only today. Even if you see this video tomorrow, it's only today on the 31st. And for people that already have a Batch Leads account, just so you guys know, just to make really clear, I don't think I did before on other live streams together, that link is for a trial. So you don't have to feel it, because I think on the page, if you scroll down, there's an option to sign up directly, but you don't have to do that. Just sign up for a trial. Give it a try. Let's see. Let's pick some places. And then if you guys could, before I forget as well, please send an email to this email address, because this is the easiest way for us to get you guys those lists. After we choose these 3 markets, this is where you will need to reach out to if you're interested in getting these lists, right here. Batchservice.com, right there. Okay, let's see what we got.
Well, I see a lot of Houston in here, and it's just probably because we got Jason in there having a bit of a meltdown. But let's do that. Let's give Jason some love. Let's go Houston. I want to give Lestacia some love. And what was her market?
Lastacia, remind us. Good to see you on here. Remind us market you want. I think she said it earlier. South Carolina.
Okay, so we'll do a list in South Carolina. Where in South Carolina, Lastacia? Tell us a town. And then last but not least, for our buddy here, Joel, we'll go Dallas.
Okay. Okay, guys. So these are going to be a list of 100 properties. They will be skip traced. Yes, they will be sent to everybody. But honestly, you know, I've been asking people with the past list, and it hasn't been clear to me who's taken the action on them on the Driving for Dollars one, which were awesome lists, by the way. So if you guys are getting these lists, don't just sit and keep them there in your inbox. Use them. Call them. We're giving you free phone numbers on these lists that we just went through and pulled in these markets. So use them. Tell us how it goes. Okay?
Please.
We want to hear about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. There we go. We got Charleston, South Carolina. We got Dallas, Fort Worth. And then we have the last market was again.
Actually, we shouldn't do Dallas. We should do let's do Portland or something different because we did DFW.
We did DFW last time. We're going to get Heidi up here and we're going to go Portland. So we got Houston, Charleston, Portland.
Charleston, Portland. Cool. Great. Well, until next time, guys, I don't know if you have anything else, Jamil, but this was super, super good. So
super fun. You. And I just wanted to thank everybody that tuned in and you know, gives us the support to show up here week after week to be able to do this. Guys, make sure you join the community, the Batch Leads community. Landree's in there constantly sharing, teaching, giving best practices. So go be a part of that community. Lastly, guys, if you haven't yet got your Batch Leads account, I just have to ask, what's the matter? What's the matter for you? You know, go to batchleads.io/off-market. Get that done today. Get the lists, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Love you, Landree.
Love you too.